What is up, everyone? Good evening. It's Saturday night and Saturday Night Live here with Sooner Surge. Appreciate you guys joining as always every night, 9:30. This show does not happen without you, the viewers. So first off, thank you. Second thing is, OU had a big day today, and I'm not just talking football. Basketball, big day. But we'll start with football, obviously. And Floyd Boucard commits to Oklahoma and really solidifies, I think, that defensive line class in that unit for the 2025 class. A really good unit in the interior there on that defensive line. So, 315 pounds, 6'3", really good get for Oklahoma and Todd Bates. Todd Bates continues to do great things. Bobby says a good class. Here's what I'll say, though. Definitely will not be in top five. I won't say definitely yet because things could happen. Fasusi could happen. Other guys could happen. You could get a flip. I'm not going to say definitely will not. Now, they have to do some things down the stretch to get top five. But here's what I'll say. They're sitting at 8 right now. And I was looking at Texas sitting at, I think, 16 right now. Guys, Texas on the interior defensive line has not one signee yet. They have a couple of edge guys. They do not have an interior defensive lineman yet, from what I could tell. So it's a big get for Oklahoma.
I think with Fasusi, it would be at least 6. And
it'd be close, but you got to land another one.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I don't think we can say definitely yet because there's still time left. But right now, you're sitting at 8, Jay. You're sitting at 8 with what a lot of people say isn't a very good class or isn't a great class. I think you get to 6 or 7, it's exactly where you got to be every year.
Yeah, and
I think 6 or 7.
I think it was said in here. It was something we talked about on the commitment video I did with Floyd Boucard, and it's not so much his star rating in this commitment as it was who offered him and who was going after him and who the OU beat out. They beat out the likes of Alabama, and what's funny is I didn't even mention in the video. I'm not going to mention it here tonight. Another team they beat out because they're not even worth talking about. Everybody knows who that is. But Alabama was a big one. If Alabama wanted him and OU got him, I don't care what he's ranked. Great get for Oklahoma and Todd Bates.
Yeah, I really like Floyd Boucard. They just got to finish out. They got to finish this out, Jay. Chester asked what they're at. Let me say something about on 3. I don't really care about on 3. I don't put any stock into it. What, Jay?
I think they're ranked around 8 right now in the 247 maybe.
No, Chester's asking how many out of 25 have they signed?
Are they at 21? Am I thinking 21 or is that wrong? Is that wrong?
I don't follow it enough closely.
22.
Jay.
Hunter says 22.
Okay.
So I think they get 2 more. That's where I would go.
Yeah, I don't give about on 3 at all.
Okay,
Bobby.
Top 5 in SEC
top
is
5 in the SEC is good enough.
Really
it
quick.
Absolutely is good enough.
Real quickly, though.
Like,
if we're going to say top 5 in SEC is not good enough, then Texas has to be just really frustrated right now with their recruiting.
I don't give about Texas, Jay.
I'm just saying.
Here's what I want to say to Bobby. Bobby, if OU is ranked 5th in the SEC, let's say Georgia and Bama are 1 and 2, and 3, 4. You're talking about one guy separating an entire. Like, come on, we're not talking about the entire classes. From 5 to 3, it's a difference of really one guy. Like,
I love it, Matt.
If OU goes top 5 every year in the SEC and they're top 10 every year in recruiting, they're going to be in the playoff or should be every year.
Hey, and Matt, I love that. It's a great saying. Hey, here's the thing, though. I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't want Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma and every Oklahoma fan should want OU to be right there with Alabama and Georgia in recruiting in the SEC. I think that's a fact, and I think nobody would deny it. That's where everybody wants to be, and that's where I want to be. But I will say this. I think you have to give it a year or 2 in the SEC to see how OU performs. And then I think if OU performs well the next 2 years, I think they will be up there in the top 3 in the SEC. I do. I think there are some. I think you have to wait till first 2 years in the SEC to see how they perform. That's just my opinion.
Like
in the Big 12, And you know, I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm not a huge numbers guy. I'm more of see it on the field, but you have to see it on the field this year, next year. So that's why I'm saying that.
Absolutely.
But
Hey,
you do
Bobby.
you have to be ranked pretty high. I think.
Jay, what was Michigan's rankings last year recruiting?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Well, I'm just saying. Bobby says the only way to win a national championship is to have a top 5 recruiting class in the country, and that's not necessarily true because Michigan didn't. And there's been other teams that haven't. Now, would I like to? Absolutely would. But if OU's in the top 10 every year in recruiting, they're going to have a chance at national championships. They should anyway.
And that's true, Gray God. I see what you're saying on this, but there are some chances that some of those guys will move up. So that's also a possibility.
Ryan Foge's going to move up.
And you're right. They may fall out of the top 10. I don't know where they're going to end up. They also may end up top 6, top 5 if they land a couple guys down the stretch. So we'll see.
FSU, Florida State wasn't top 5. They would have been in the playoff last year.
Here's the deal, though, Jeremy. We can pick schools that made it and weren't in the top 5. Everybody knows to win championships, you got to have Jimmys and Joes. And OU has to. And I think you ask any – Jeremy, do not shake your head at me. Ask any coach on that staff, and they're saying, yeah, we need to get top 3 or 4 in the SEC recruiting. That's their goal, I promise you. So I don't think it's wrong to say that.
Jay, here's what I don't like about what you just said. To win a national title, you got to have Jimmys and Joes. Yeah, and a team who's ranked 7th in the entire freaking country can have plenty of Jimmy and Joes to win a national championship. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you.
Like,
I agree. Listen,
for people to think that 7th is trash is ridiculous.
I'm not saying that, Jeremy. And all I'm saying, listen to me real quickly. I'm saying if they ended up 7 or 8 this year, I still think it's a good class after last year.
That's a good class.
Listen, they would have 3 good classes under Brent Venables. All I'm saying is this. I think all the staff and everybody there, their goal is to be 1, 2, or 3 in the SEC in recruiting. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
talking about goals. Of course, their goal is to be the best.
I'm not saying they'd be mad to be 7 or 8. I'm just saying I think they're pushing to be top of the SEC and to do that. But I think you have to have a good year or 2 in the SEC before that really happens. What's up, Talon? How are you? Consistent top 7
I agree with Talon. Look.
Great point, Talon. Top 7 class produce results, especially with the staff development. And I think that's very well said. You know what Todd Bates does with these guys? And look what Todd Bates has done in this class. Another really good – this is by far their best back-to-back class on the defensive line. It's not even close, guys. It's not even close.
Monty, Hunter dropped it in the chat earlier where they were. They were like 17th, 9th. And maybe they are the exception, but there's been other teams, Jay, that were not top 5 recruiting that have won national championships. And I don't want everyone on here to take what I'm saying incorrectly or out of context. Do I want OU to be a top 3 country recruiting class every year? Yes. Is there a big difference between 4th and 9th? No, there's not. There's not a difference at all, hardly.
Hey, here's what I'll say. Mark, I like Mark's comment here. I get it. I'll say this, and I kind of agree with Mark a little bit. I think it depends. I think if you look at the top 4 or 5 teams and they're getting a bunch of 5 stars and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 aren't getting any 5 stars, I think that's where you would have a big separation. Because I do think 5 stars are a little different animal in some years. I just do.
I mean, and that's my point, Jay.
What's up, Lori?
Jay, been missing you, Lori. Appreciate you being on here. Jay, let's compare because I think, my opinion, I am not a recruiting guru, but I promise you the difference between a team ranked 4th and a team ranked 9th is maybe one dude. That's it.
4 and 9?
Yes.
I don't think so on that.
I absolutely do, Jay.
I don't.
Okay.
I think it does depend on how many teams are. What Eric said, it does depend on how many teams in the SEC are ahead of you. OU's not going to the SEC to be 5th or 6th in recruiting in the SEC. Promise you that.
What is it then, Bobby? What is it then? Who ranked? Tell me a difference in 4-9. Is it the 4th ranked team is 7.968 on the Rivals ranking? I don't give a rip about Rivals rankings.
Well, it means something, Jeremy. I mean, you can't just.
I get it, but what are we basing that on? A 4th and a 9th ranked team? How do we know until these guys pan out? Does one team have 5 more 5-stars? That's a big difference. I agree. If it's 1 5-star and OU has more 4-stars, like I'm just saying that is not a significant difference. If you're talking about 5 5-stars more than another team, I get it. Even 2 5-stars more, I get it.
But Jeremy, there's a lot of things that go into it when you thought maybe one team takes 18 guys, another team takes 21 guys. So there's a lot. I don't want to spend all night talking about recruiting. Here's the bottom line. OU got a great commitment today out of Floyd Boucard, a guy they needed to land up defensive line, 315 pounds. He's ready to go. Great commitment from Todd Bates and great get for them. So that's big time. Porter Moser also cooking. Wow. That's the best basketball recruit they've gotten in a long time. So I don't know what's going on there at Porter Moser, but great steal from Oklahoma there. I know we don't want to talk a lot about basketball here tonight, but that's a good get for Porter.
And Eric, I did say if there's multiple 5-stars and the difference there is 3, that's a big difference. We'll see what it ends up. I'm thinking OU gets Fasuzi, so
you are missed, Lori. Promise you. We've been asking about you. Appreciate you being on tonight. Hope everything's going good. Life's treating you well.
Hey, and Jay, the fact of the matter is Georgia and Bama were either one of those in the national title game last year.
No, they were not. But
not even the title game, y'all. Now, would I rather have Georgia and Bama's rankings every year? Absolutely. But I'm just saying it's not just that. It's a big deal.
Jeremy, 5 Saturdays. Let me say that again. Everybody on it, let me say it again. 5 Saturdays till football. We're going to blink or snap our fingers and it'll be here. It
sure hasn't done much. Sure hasn't done much with Ohio State, Greg God. People wanting Ryan Day gone. He can recruit like crazy.
Wait, Jay, you put too much into wanker rankings. It's silly. Who does? Me?
I guess.
What are you talking about, Mess? Please expand on what you're talking about in the wanker rankings. I don't know what I'm putting too much thought into.
Hey, here's what I would say to Bobby. Where was OU? They weren't anywhere near the playoff. But guess what? Neither was Georgia Kirby Smart's first couple years.
Hey,
Brent Venables can be that guy, I think.
Hey,
he's got 2 good classes together.
I'm going to go off what Talon mentioned earlier because I would think it was a great point. You do have to have really good recruiting. I think you do have to have top classes, but you also have to have development and right coaches. I mean, look at Ohio State. They've dominated in recruiting recent years and had really good years. And what have they done really in the national skill of things?
That's what I want to ask Greg God. He said they've had way more success. What? They don't even win the Big Ten. Like, what?
I think he says more success because they lose 1 game, but it's to Michigan. But they lose to the team that doesn't out-recruit them. That's what's crazy. And that's because of coaching and development, I think, with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, Jim Harbaugh's a better coach than Ryan Day, right? I mean, I think he is. I don't even think that's close. I think Jim Harbaugh's a way better coach than Ryan Day.
And I was wrong, Kirby. I thought it was year 3. Mark says, yeah, I agree. I hope BV isn't the James Franklin. I do think BV recruits better than James Franklin, but I hope he's not the James Franklin.
Hey, Mess, I said that Boucard chose OU. I could care less about the rankings. I think that's exactly what I said earlier was I could care less where he's ranked. Look who they beat out to get him. That tells everything you need to know. They beat Alabama out. I don't care about USC, but Miami's a big one because he went to Miami now to play high school footballs last year. So it's a big get.
Yeah, he was at Bama last year, Bama high school last year, and now he's in Miami. And OU's able to get him from both those guys. Todd Bates continues to impress, not only with his poetry, but in his life skills, but also with recruiting.
Hey, give me the one thing, maybe the biggest thing you're excited for as we get closer to week 1. What is the one thing, and people in the chat,
I want to see the offense.
Please respond to this, but the one thing you're wanting to see OU week 1, what's the one thing you're really wanting to see? You're excited about?
I want to see schematically offense, what it looks like.
Okay, I want to see offensive line. That's my biggest kind of question mark of the year, and I want to see what they got out there.
Yeah, Neville Gallimore was the other Canadian defensive tackle. That is correct.
Hey, I'm not debating. Yeah, I'm ready to move off the rankings. It's a huge get for Oklahoma, Mass. I agree with you. Massive get. That's all we should be talking about is how big of a get it was.
It was a massive get.
I agree. Let's move on off recruiting.
Chester says
excited to see Jackson Arnold.
Chester says D-line destroying people all game and hopefully getting a lot of.
If OU's D-line and O-line don't dominate week one, going to be a long year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can all say that.
Clark says offense, O-line play calling, Monty getting ahead, playing some young guys. I hope it's not just playing young guys because you're ahead. I hope they go very, very deep into the rotation just to play a lot of guys, even if you're not killing them.
Hey, let me say this, Mark. This brings up a great point. It's a great question. I think personally, this is just an opinion. I think gone are the days of being vanilla. I think that was a thing maybe 10 years ago you talk about it. I think that's kind of washed now. I don't think teams – I think some teams may give more just to give more stuff for their opponent to look at on film, multiple. So I don't think as much as that used to happen, I don't think it happens as much anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, is the D-line going to be one of the best in years? Potentially, yes. We do have to see it. There are some young guys. They are very young, and a couple of those depth guys that everyone's high on. I want to see them. I want to see them make impact plays early on so that BV and company will go to them later in the season.
Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for trivia, guys.
Trivia time.
Points are on the line. As you all know, we're giving away 2 tickets to the OU versus Houston game there in Norman. FanStop has graciously provided with. If you haven't checked out the FanStop, after this live, click off the live, go to www.thefanstop.com, sign up for the shirt of the month. It's amazing. You get 1 shirt every month, new design, new color shirts, great officially licensed OU merchandise. Make sure you do it. You use code SURGE, you'll get 10% off your first 3 months, and they're legit, I promise you. So we have the wheel. We're working on the spinning wheel for the tickets, Jeremy. I know you've been entering those in every night after trivia, after the call-ins, and after FanStop people join FanStop. So make sure if you do join FanStop, though, you email us because you get your name's on the wheel 7 times by joining FanStop. So here we go with the trivia of the night. OU plays Ole Miss this year. Last time they played Ole Miss, who was the running back for Ole Miss? A really good running back. And you have to go way back. But who was the running back for Ole Miss last time they played? Back in, you want me to give you the year? Oh, man, that was quick, Bobby. Wow. Bobby cooking tonight. Jeez. Deuce McAllister. Wow. Was it that easy, boys and girls?
And he did kill us. He was tough. Hey, any guy named Deuce hurts OU.
Who was the other one? Deuce Staley?
Deuce Vaughn.
I was going to say, did OU play Deuce Staley? I don't think so.
No, Deuce Vaughn, Jay.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn. I'm glad he's gone. He's good.
Who was the really
Bobby
good?
Had that so quick.
Who was the really good Ole Miss receiver a few years ago that got hurt, but he was going to be an
Metcalf?
That's who it was, isn't it?
DJ Metcalf, yeah.
No, not that one. Not that one.
Not that one. He was a stud.
No, there's someone else. They had a stud receiver that got hurt, never panned out.
I don't.
I'll think of it in a minute. He was going to be an absolute superstar.
Yeah, that was back in 1999. You had Josh Heupel as the quarterback, Bob Stoops' first year there. So Mike Leach's offense, first year. So Elijah Moore, Bobby says. Is that it, Jeremy?
It's not the one I was thinking of, but
I'm trying to remember who the quarterback was that year for Ole Miss. I don't
seem like it was a Petaway name, but
I don't know.
Seems like Treadwell. That's who it is.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. And great.
That is it.
Surgeaholics come through every time.
Didn't Treadwell get hurt? have a
I
bad
believe
injury?
he didn't pan out anymore.
Laquan Treadwell.
Daniel,
Laquan,
appreciate it. Daniel, Eric, y'all are
Laquan
all
Treadwell. That's it.
They put out some good receivers, have they not?
Oh, absolutely have.
We'll see. Hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and pump up tomorrow night because I really want you all on here. It's going to be playoff prediction time tomorrow night. Come with your playoff predictions, your 12-team playoff. We're going to do a show specifically towards that. 12 teams, go over who everybody has, our thoughts on it. It should be a good show, so make sure you're there tomorrow night and you have yours ready to roll, baby. It's going to be here, Jeremy, soon, very soon.
Hey, Jay, we could go ahead and go over the call-in portion for tonight. That'll be about 10 minutes from now. If people want to start kind of getting their ideas together of who they want to present as their candidate.
Yeah, that's right. The question of the night, or the topic that you will be calling in, if you would like to call in and argue with Jeremy, debate.
It's not an argument. It's present who you have, Jay.
Okay. Is if you were starting a college football team, who would you want as your head coach? Now, listen, here's the rules. Cannot be Kirby Smart, and it has to be a current head coach in college football. So, yeah, have fun, Chester.
Do not drop it. Do not drop it in the chat right now. Save it for the 30-minute mark so that you don't sway anyone else. I've got my guy, and maybe you'll be shocked who it is.
One guy.
I got my one guy. I'll present that at the 30-minute mark, and then people can call in and present theirs.
Man, bringing up Jacksonville as a receiver, the biggest bust in probably wide receiver history, I think, was Jacksonville Jaguars. You know what I'm talking about?
Blackman.
What a talent, dude. That guy was unfreaking believable.
OSU's had some great ones, Jay.
OSU's had some guys that could have been unbelievable NFL players, just not.
Dez was pretty good, Jay. Dez Bryant was pretty good.
Oh, Dez was great, yeah. But Blackman he was unbelievable. That guy could have been an all-star Pro Bowler multiple years.
Yeah, got to make good decisions.
Yeah. What else on your mind tonight, Jeremy?
Not a whole lot on the mind, Jay, honestly. Got up about 4:30 to take the boys to a 5K race this morning, and then watched a little bit of the British Open later. And that's really all. I will say the USA men's basketball team, let's stop comparing them to the Dream Team, okay? Let's stop it.
Well, they got – I think here's a couple of things. Yeah, Hartley Dice was a beast. I think the USA team, I think they got some guys that have been around too long, vets.
They just have too many egos, dude. They're not a team.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. I don't think – and I'm not really – I don't know if I'm faulting them or not, but – I don't think the Olympics to these guys is that big of a deal to them. I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I think playing in the NBA, I think they care a little bit more about it, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not speaking for them. I'm just saying, from my opinion, I think it's hard for them to.
Steve Kerr's not doing a good job. But hey, Anthony Edwards wasn't good either today, and he looked kind of frustrated. John, you're right. I think any sport, when the Olympics is not kind of the king of that sport, like golf, winning the Olympics is not going to be bigger than winning a major championship. Softball, they'd probably rather win the Women's College World Series championship. So,
yeah, Dream Team was different. But also,
Gary, you're right.
Let me say this too. Let me say this about the Dream Team, though. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate, and it's the fact that I know they would have destroyed everybody, but nationally, internationally, basketball was not nearly as talented. Okay?
Agreed.
I mean, the basketball world now, international-wise, you got good players on every team that play in the NBA. So I do think it's a little different. But
there is no way, Gray God and Eric, that USA Today, USA was a 40-something point favorite. That should not have been a close. Sudan is not one of the ones you can say.
I agree. I also think, too, it's exhibition. We'll see what happens. But I do think the Dream Team had a little bit of a killer mentality. They wanted to beat you by 50 every game. I don't think you have that with this team. I don't think they're wanting to go out there and beat you by 50. I don't think the drive is there. But now, international teams right now, it doesn't matter which team you pick. I promise you there's probably one or two NBA players on there. right?
Oh, there are. But Sudan is not one of the better ones.
I know, but they still have NBA talent.
Yeah, there's NBA talent, Jay.
So,
and there were guys in the 90s. Vlade Divac was a guy that was in the league. They had guys in the league that played on other teams. Not near as many, though. Not near as many.
And I agree, Eric. I agree that they had some guys that were on their last leg. I just think
it's the ego thing for me.
It was the first year to have really the dream team and professional players. So I think they were putting all the GOATs on there, the guys that had been around for a while.
Jay.
Yeah.
What kind of season is Woody Washington going to have? I know Tyler's talking about Rashawn Woods and James Washington, but just seeing those names, what kind of season is Woody Washington going to have?
Jeremy, I don't know, because I don't know where all they're going to play him.
Timeout. You are absent.
That's to get you riled up, Jeremy.
Great God, that
is, dude. Calm. Hey, bring it down level. Calm.
Great God, that's a horrible. Drew Holiday?
Jeremy, your necklace is about to pop off your neck, dude. Jeez.
Great God, that is horrible, man.
Hey, people know how to push your buttons. You don't let it happen, Jeremy.
Great God, Drew Holiday would not lock MJ up. Come on. He's a great defender, but he ain't locking MJ up. That's a fact.
I kind of think listening to Britt Venables.
What? Jordan had no handles?
Jeremy, why do you even, you know what?
I'm not even going to acknowledge the ridiculous takes about Jordan.
Hey, what I was going to say about defensive backs was I kind of get the feeling that they may go more man this year and not as much zone. I think maybe he puts those guys on an island this year.
Yeah, I'm just refusing now to I'm not even going to comment about some of those comments about
mess.
Can't handle Drew Holiday. Jeez. He may move to nickelback.
I agree. I think he's going to play multiple positions this year, multiple places. So,
yeah,
it's about time. And on the football, sorry, Greg God says, Jeremy's trying to get going now.
I'm trying. What?
You were ready to roll there. Hey, Matt says, more physical games up front. I agree. I think they're going to try to bring more pressure. They're going to try to play on an island and try to get more pressure at the quarterback. I think that's probably the biggest difference you see this year.
Woody Washington's going to play quite a bit.
I agree.
I mean, Tyler, I think Woody Washington.
A name you don't hear a whole lot about is Peyton Bowen. And RSJ tweeted out about him the other day when somebody said RSJ is going to have a great year. He included Peyton Bowen and said, and Peyton Bowen and Billy Bowen.
They're going to play a lot of dudes, and that's what I want.
Yeah, I agree, Bobby. He turned red as an apple, bro.
Hey, let me go ahead and present my coaching. We'll get started in a minute, but
okay, yeah. Let's
Jay, do we want to open it up to the entire chat tonight instead of just the Discord?
Let's do this. We'll see who wants to call in from the unlimited members, and if nobody wants to call in and present their coach they would go with, we'll open it up to other people. That's fine. So we'll see how it goes.
Get started.
So let's get started with it. As you know, the call-in link is in the Discord for the unlimited members. You can click on the link, call in, give us your take on who you would start your college football team with as far as a coach. Current head football coach has to be a current coach, cannot be the one and only Kirby Smart. So I'd be interested. I think this is a great question. It's going to bring up if guys go young guys, if guys goes proven guys. And Jeremy and Mark, I cannot believe it, but and we all know Mark's being sarcastic here. He says Art Briles, but he's no longer coaching. Jeremy, go with yours.
Here, I'm going to say mine, and I hope some people call in and just, hey, call in for like 30 seconds, say who you would pick and why, and then you can get off the call. It's not a big deal. We'd like more interaction. But here's what I'm going to say, Jay. I really thought through it, and there was a guy, and I'm going to preface it. This is not the guy I chose, but I was close to choosing him, and that's the Utah coach, Kyle Whittingham. That guy has won maybe bigger games, more big games than anyone. He's 64 years old. I definitely wouldn't start my team with him. I'm going to choose a 49-year-old guy. And Jay, it's kind of shocking. 49-year-old only 2 years older than Shane Beamer. This guy's got like 125-12 record, okay, in his head coaching days. He's probably, and I'm not saying probably, outside of Kirby Smart, he's the most proven head coach around today. If you want to go wins, losses, what he does with programs. When he was with Fresno State and Washington combined, he was 12-2 against top 25 teams. The guy I'm picking is Kalen DeBoer. And listen, I know for a fact you thought he was 55 or 60. Dude's only 49 years old. Kalen DeBoer is my pick to start a program.
So you think he's a program building coach?
That's all he does. That's all he's ever done.
And Eric agrees. Greg God, this would be one of my top two, Dan Lanning. I would be Dan Lanning top two. And I know it's totally different than Kalen DeBoer because he's not proven. Talon, Mike Norvell is a great one. But, yeah, if you want to call in and give yours, the links in the Discord, go ahead and call in. And Jeremy, I think DeBoer is a great one to start your team with. I think it's hard to argue that. Here's what I would do to argue that. Would be, and I think
exactly. You can't even think of anything.
No, I think we have to preface it is, if you're starting a team, are we saying it's in the SEC and it's in the toughest conference? I'm guessing. So I have to see DeBoer do it at Alabama still. I think he's good.
Well, if you say that, no one can put anyone else on there, Jay.
I agree. That's why
you can't say Dan Lanning.
No,
man.
I'm not saying DeBoer's not a good choice. I think he is.
I mean, he's the most proven coach out there outside of Kirby Smart.
Are we saying Rhett Ashley?
Mark? That maybe what Mark's saying. Jay, there is another guy, Dabo Swinney.
No, see, I was waiting for somebody to say that. I think the Dabo days are over. I think people have kind of like forgotten about Dabo. I don't think people really think he's that great of a coach. I don't know.
Tyler says he's about to get run out of Bama. I do not think that's happening. He's too good of a coach. He's a culture guy, too. You listen to him, the players love him because of the culture that he brings to the team. Just go back and watch what he did at Washington and watch the guys who played with him and what they said about him.
Hey, I know people will hate what I'm getting ready to say, but had he not left this year, my number one pick would have been Jim Harbaugh.
Now, if you're building a staff, Jay, Skyler's dropping his DC. DC with Kalen DeBoer. The other thing Kalen DeBoer has done is he's always built a good staff.
That's true. Nobody has said Lane Kiffin yet.
If you're going to say Lane Kiffin, you can say Brent Venables.
And only one.
In my opinion, if you say Dan Lanning, you can say Brent Venables. They're the same until they do something.
Bobby said it's not that Doblin's not a great coach, but he's unwilling. I agree. The times have changed. You got to change as a coach. So
and Jay, did you know Kalen DeBoer was only 49?
I thought he was probably 53, maybe.
He's almost the same age as Shane Beamer, Sarkisian, same age.
You mentioned Kyle Whittingham. I think that would be a great choice as well. I think he's a really good coach.
I'm going to say this about the Pac-12, Bobby and Eric. There are two really good teams in both of those conferences, Big 12 and Pac-12. Outside of the top two, I mean, who was third in the Pac-12?
I don't know.
So I think they're pretty similar.
His hairline says otherwise, Bobby says. Who are we missing? Anybody we're missing? What about Klein from K-State?
I would say Utah was just like a K-State, in my opinion.
What about Klein?
I like Klein, but he is not
Klein. Klein's not his full name.
Kleiman.
Sorry. Yeah, Klein.
Yeah, he's not up there with DeBoer. And John, that's why I almost picked Whittingham. I absolutely love Kyle Whittingham. I mean, if I'm a player, if I'm a parent, like I can listen to that dude all day long. But Yep, Arizona beat OU. A lot of guys didn't play in some of those games. You can't talk bowl games.
Baker says, I don't think Dan Lanning and Baker, I will agree with you on this. I think we have to see him coach for a few years as a head coach to see what he does. I think it's unknown yet. I think it's unknown.
No Ryan Day. Ryan. No one said Ryan Day.
Hey, you want to do this?
Hey, wait, it's not an excuse. It was a bowl game where people opted out on both teams. I'm saying you can't judge a bowl game based on the regular season. That's all I'm saying. My goodness.
Tyler says, row the boat. No Marcus Freemans, no Ryan Days. Jeff Traylor's a great coach. I just don't know if I'd want him to build a program for me. Hey, real quick, I want to do thoughts on this real quick. But Jeremy, you good to go 45 minutes? Well, yeah. Hey, last 10 minutes. What if we drop the link to call in if you have a question? Call in with the question for the last 10 minutes.
Whatever. Yeah, call in and come at me. I don't care. Eric, OU are missing guys.
Hunter, if you want to drop it in.
Jay, OU was missing guys in that bowl. I'm just saying you don't take a bowl game, in my opinion, that didn't matter for last year's team. It was about moving forward to this year.
Yeah. Thoughts
for one, they didn't have Jeff Lebby. Their staff was different. Like,
if Jerry
obviously didn't have Dylan Gabriel, who you said is better than Jackson Arnold.
My thoughts are Porter Moser got a great guard, and he
absolutely did.
Unbelievable get. Porter's putting pretty good class together, pretty good team together, I think. We'll see what happens in the season, but it's unbelievable get. You can't say anything else about it. It's that big.
Eric, Andrew Rain didn't play that game. Correct? They had 3 offensive linemen. How is that a horrible take?
Who cares? And we're not talking about last year. Move on, dude. Move on.
I'm responding to Eric. He said it's a horrible take when OU had 60% of their line gone and a new quarterback and a new coordinator. What do you mean who's missing?
Talent. I'm with you. I'm with you, Fickle. Fickle's recruiting really well with Wisconsin, though. I do think he's a really good coach.
I didn't say opt out. I said guys were missing on both sides.
Bob's asking, chances we land Fasusi. I'm about 53% right now.
I'm going to 54. I was 52% last week.
There's the link. If you want to call with the question, if you want to call to talk to one of us, there it is right there. Click on it. You can call in. Something new we're trying out. So we're really trying to get it ramped up for the post-game and pre-game lives for when football season gets going and you want to call in with a question or your thoughts on the game. There it is. Click on it. Call in. Let us know your thoughts.
Hey, Jimmy, my only question on Porter Moser, is he going to handcuff this one too? Is he going to handcuff this guard too? That's my question.
Yeah, supposedly there's a 6'10" transfer from Alabama visiting.
That's what you need. That's what you need.
I don't know where they would put him on the roster because I don't know if they have spots. I don't know how that works in basketball, how many they got, but
Greg God, why aren't you 54%? I think he likes the culture at OU. I think that's going to win out.
Bob, will Tatum be running back 2? I don't, not at the first, but he could work his way up there if he has a great fall. I think he could.
He's bigger than I thought. He's at 205. I think that's good. He's got some size on him. I don't think he's going to pass Caleb Hicks.
I think Caleb Hicks is really good.
He's going to get a few carries, I think.
I think Caleb Hicks is really good. So
I do too.
Okay, let me ask you a question on this. If NIL wins out with Fasusi, you're saying Texas, I'm assuming, Bobby. Is that right? Well, I'm just saying from the outside looking in, I don't know what's going on with Texas right now recruiting, but they don't seem to be getting as much as I thought they would this class. Now, maybe they get them later on. I don't know, but I think they're down to 16 or 18 in the class. So, and they've got no interior defensive lineman, by the way.
Ryan Spangler was amazing. I loved Ryan Spangler. He did do the dirty work, and he could hit the 3. He was a great screener. Loved him.
And great God, that's true. I get it. I don't think OU's not willing to pay NIL either. I think OU's going to do what they can to get him. I mean, we'll see what happens, though. That's what recruiting is these days. You'll see August 21st when he commits. We'll find out.
Yeah,
and not only that, you have to hold on to the guys you already have.
Agreed, you do. Yeah, Spangler was great. Spangler was absolutely great. NIL is level most places. Texas main advantage before. Everyone's paying now. Partly true to some extent. To some extent. There are teams that aren't. Hey, Tyler, you can't play the game over, though. I'm not here to make excuses. I was just saying you can't take a bowl game and talk about that was the same teams that played during the year. Florida State had 9 of their 11 starters out on one side. You're not going to pick the bowl game and say, well, this team wasn't as good. I'm just saying, that's all I was saying on it. Arizona was a good team last year and ranked. So they were like a Kansas last year who beat OU. Kansas was ranked at some point last year. Those conferences are very similar. The StreamYard link is in the chat. Someone go find it if you want. Hop on here. Give us a hot take. Call, ask a question. Do what you want. Your picture, your face won't be on here, but your voice will be. Bring it. Let's go. Tyler's welcome to call in. Bring it. Give us your hot take, Tyler.
Bob says still say we go 10-2 this year. A lot of people are saying 9-3, 8-4. I've heard a few say 10-2. I haven't heard a whole lot. I mean, Mess says 12-0 every night, so he's sticking by it.
Hey,
Bobby,
don't you think all of those schools are elite schools, though? It's not just about dropping bags.
Real quick, Bobby. If you're a 5-star offensive lineman, it doesn't matter how many schools are in your top whatever, they're all willing to drop bag. I mean, that's NIL these days, right?
Yes.
And I don't know, Jonah Williams, I'm interested to see where Jonah Williams is going to end up. Aren't you? I mean, I wonder how much baseball is going to play into Jonah Williams' recruitment and if it will as much as we thought at first.
Yeah, I mean, it might, Jay. Bob's talking about OU's defense being elite, win us games. I hope it does. Last year, I had a chance to win a couple games, and they did it. And then there are a couple games they did make plays, but the offense sputtered. So
all I know is it'll be here before you know it. This is a Saturday night. You got 5 more Saturdays till football. What is the very first game of the season? Do you know it off the top of your head?
Who is it, you mean?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was Florida State and someone, but I may be wrong. It's like it's Labor Day night, Monday night, I believe. There may be a Saturday game before that, though.
And Bobby, that's fair. I get that point for sure. I get that point.
Yeah. Colin said, I still find it crazy that the 3-star D lineman we got at 49 offers. Yeah, it was a little interesting on that.
LSU, USC on Sunday. Is that going to be a whooping or not? What do you think?
I think it's going to be a really good game.
USC, over under 8 wins this year.
Nope. I'm going to say 8. 8's probably a good number. 7 or 8 is what they're going to get.
I'm going under 7. I'm saying 7. They got a pretty hard schedule, Jeremy. Urban says, thanks for joining, Urban. Hey, guys, I noticed Boucard took his official visit in uniform. Do you think
Monty thinks OU can match Texas in money?
I don't know about that. I don't know about. Here's what I'll say. I think these recruiting departments at these schools, they know that they have the ins and outs of everything they need for these visits. Correct? I mean, if they need something they do their research. So that's all.
Jay, Eric, you talked about a lot of people are taking the over on USC, over 8 wins. That means what? There's going to be 3 or 4 teams go 9-3 or better in that conference?
Mess. This is a great point. He did choose OU over Texas, NIL considered. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, NIL is changing even at OU right now in the current setup. So,
and yeah, it is changing. Hey, Boucard's from Canada. Who was the other Canada defensive lineman they had passed?
Gallimore.
Neville Gallimore. That's right. Yep.
I think that game early is going to set a tone. LSU, I've been saying it for a while. LSU is going to be way better than people think. And I like their quarterback a lot.
And I'll say this with what Thunder OU Sooner says. Does that play into anything with OU Texas? If you're going to lose a guy and it's going to go to Texas, I think you do whatever you do to get Fasusi, right?
Well, I think OU's going to do what all they can do, and then Fasusi's going to decide. That's what I think. I don't think OU says, well, we're not going to pay. They're going to put an offer out there, and maybe someone's going to beat it.
Somebody's going to pay more.
Agreed.
Either OU or Texas A&M. Somebody's going to pay more. I do think, yes, NIL is involved, of course, with 5 stars, but I think you get to the level of NIL where then it's also, you got to also go with the relationship. I think, yeah, it's going to keep upping for all those guys, but at some point you got to make your decision, and we'll see what happens.
5 Saturdays away, Jay.
That's right. 5 more. So
tomorrow night, playoff predictions. You will drop your 12-team playoffs in the chat. We may have something else set up for you to kind of display them, or at least call in and say who they are. Jay, are you wanting everyone to give their top 12 and then who the games would be, or you just want top 12 here?
I just want no particular order. I want the 12 teams.
The 12 teams in no particular order.
Yeah, we don't need to get into the rankings at this point. I just want to know the 12 teams. So
okay, you heard that, Surgeaholics. Tomorrow night, that's the homework. Bring your 12 teams to the live chat tomorrow of who's going to be in the college football playoff, first time of 12 teams. Appreciate everyone that's been watching on here tonight, and for you that have been on here for a year that we've been on, or for a day, or for a month, whatever. We appreciate each and every one of you. It's always fun. Check out the Fan Stop at thefanstop.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. You guys have a great Sunday.